4 seed Virginia Tech women's basketball lost to 5 seed Baylor 75-72. So what exactly happened? Baylor was up 34-28 at halftime, and Baylor did score 41 points in the second half, while Virginia Tech scored 44, but that was clearly not enough. And I'm going to go over the last minute and a half or so to give some context, and y'all going to have to check out the highlights for this game. This was a really good game. Here, and I'm going to go over the stats as well, and apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this. And I'll explain the significance of this win. Here, too. So, with 133 left, Baylor called timeout, and Jada Walker made a jumper to make it 70-67. And Olivia from Virginia Tech turned the ball over, and which was stolen by Bell. Around 59 seconds left, Baylor called timeout. Jada Walker missed a layup with around 44 seconds left, which was blocked by Claire Strack. The big that I had to replace Elizabeth Gitley in a starting lineup due to a torn ACL, and Virginia Tech called timeout around 38 seconds left. Georgia Amore missed a jumper, but Claire Strack got the offensive rebound and made a putback jumper to make it 70-69 at that point. And Baylor called timeout to advance the ball. And Jay Walker, the plan for Virginia Tech was to get up to the number of fouls to get Baylor to the free throw line, because they were not in the bonus yet. Baylor was not at that point. But Jay Walker curled around, went one way and curled around and got the ball, and she drove to the basket and she made the shot and got fouled and even made the free throw to make it 73-69 at that point. And it was a risk for Jada Walker to go for a shot there, because if she would have missed it, then, and that's the thing. I mean, then who knows what would have happened. And they did try to look at it and see if it was an intentional foul, but the player was grabbing at the hip, and it did not look like a play on the ball. But officials looked at it, and they said it was just still a common foul. Whatever on that situation. And Virginia Tech did call timeout at the free throw, like I said, right after the free throw. And Georgia Amore made a three around 15 seconds left, assisted by Claire Strack to make it 73-72. So this was a huge situation, and Baylor called timeout. So Georgia Amore fouled around 12 seconds left, took off some time, and Jay Walker got fouled. And around 6 seconds left, and Jay Walker got fouled by Kayla King, who fouled out for the game. And she was very smart by trying to run out that clock when you look at it. And Jay Walker went to the line and made both free throws, so to make it 75-72. And Baylor did have a foul to give. About 1.3 seconds left, Jay Walker did foul. And Virginia Tech did inbound the ball, but the ball never touched the rim. It was bobbled, and Georgia Amore tried to do it backwards. The ball was not near the rim, and thus Baylor won the game. I am not shocked that Baylor won this game. Baylor was the healthier team, for starters. And they didn't have to go against 6'6" Elizabeth Kitley. I mean, if they had Elizabeth Kitley, I think this game would have been totally different. I really do. And we're going to do is that way see you on Georgia Amore after this game, because she does have a COVID year left. And this is Virginia Tech's first home loss in 43 games. Yeah, they had a 42-game winning streak at home. And this was the first home loss for Virginia Tech all season long. That's crazy. Points on Turner's favorite Virginia Tech, 7-6, but I don't know about the fast break points being 0-0, but I'm not going to mention that. No. And points in the paint favored Baylor, 36-28. And Virginia Tech did not shoot bad in this game. In fact, the same percentage as Baylor on the same amount of attempts. So I'm going to just say them both at the same time. 42.9% from the field on 63 attempts. That's crazy that both shot the same amount. Virginia Tech did shoot 32.1% on threes on 28 attempts. 75% on free throws on 12 attempts. 36 rebounds. 7 of those offensive. 14 assists. 2 steals, 4 blocks, 14 turnovers, 22 fouls, 8 points off the bench, 3 doubles and scores to come out for 18 plus 19. That's 37 plus 18. That's 55 points. And 2 players that would had 6 or more points that combined for 13, 7 plus 3. And I will say the officiating was questionable on both sides. I'm not saying it was one-sided or anything like that. But ultimately, Baylor made enough plays to win. And Baylor, like, shot the same percentage as Virginia Tech in terms of the field. Don't need to go over that again. 42.9% if y'all don't know. One same amount of attempts, 63. 27.8% on threes on 18 attempts. They didn't make as many threes. And they didn't make as many free throws in terms of percentage. 64% on free throws and 25 attempts. Yeah, that was really scaring me. Because if they would have made more free throws, this game would have been a little bit more cushion. 35 rebounds, 7 of those offensive. 7 assists, 6 steals, 5 blocks, 10 turnovers, 18 fouls, and how many points off the bench? 7 plus 2, that's 9. Plus 2, that's 11 bench points. And 3 totals of score in this game that combined for 10 plus 6, 26. 10 plus 16, that's 26. Plus 28, that's 54 points. And 2 other players with 6 or more points that combined for 16, 7 plus 9. And Jada Walker went up for a career high in this game. I'm going to give her a shout out. In her home state. In fact, the city that she lived in is like, growing up, it was Richmond. 28 points on 16 made shots, and she made 9 of those. 1 for 1 on threes, 9 for 10 on free throws, 3 assists. But she did have 4 fouls. So, I know for a fact that Elizabeth Kelly has no more years of eligibility. So that is a big loss for Virginia. And I wish her good luck in the future and a speedy recovery. I really do. I hate to see it. An injury late in the season like the last regular season game. Kayla King is a 5th-year player. That's 2 gone. That hurts. And like I said, Georgia Amore is a 4-year player, but, well, she returned for her COVID year. That's the thing. And Olivia from Virginia Tech, she's a 5th-year player. So they definitely lose 3 seniors. But I got to wait and see who they replenish them with. But I know Strack did damage. Not just in this game, but the other game against Marshall. I know she did. And I think she has a good future ahead of her. And you know what's funny is, when this last time between these 2 teams, meeting between these 2 teams in the NCAA tournament, it was in the round of 32, 2021. I mean, and Sarah Andrews was part of that team, and Elizabeth Kelly, as well as Georgia Amore at the time. Yeah, I'm just saying. And Kayla King as well. So, that's just irony. And Sarah Andrews did play, but it was very limited. Because she was a backup in a game. And Virginia Tech did take a step backwards this year. They were a Final Four team last year. Now they're around the 32. And they finished 25-8 on the year. And 14-4 in the ACC. Yeah, they were the best team in the ACC. And I know they didn't make it that far in terms of the ACC tournament. It's because they were a transition period without Kelly. I know. I know that's true. And this is Nikki Collins, the Baylor women's basketball coach. First Sweet 16 that she's been a part of. This is big for her. Because look, last year they obviously didn't go. They went to UConn, as if y'all don't recall. And they could have easily lost in a round of 64 game, but they didn't. I mean, that's the thing. They didn't to Alabama. They competed with 2.5 quarters with UConn a year ago. Despite a depleted, not as healthy of a roster as she thought it would, because, and not the roster she thought, because no Dre Edwards, because of that Kentucky women's basketball coach, didn't grant her the waiver. and Asia Blackwell got hurt early on. So, yeah, and they were young last year too. And they were battle tested. This Baylor team beat Texas, a 1 seed, at Texas. I mean, and they played it in Hilton and in the past and even beat them. Not this year, but the year before. And most of the players are coming back. I mean, they came back from last year's team. So this was nothing new for them in terms of the environment and all this. So this is a big deal for them to get back to the Sweet 16 for the first time without Kim Mulkey's name part of it. And I'm not just talking about women's basketball year, but I'm talking about women or men. And a lot of people thought Nikki Kong, they doubted Baylor after that 10-game skid, and I admit I did too. Or not skid, but win one game, lose another, win one game, lose another, back and forth. In the middle of the year after the 14-0 start, then back-to-back losses, and then it was just win, loss. Then it ended with the winning streak until the Iowa State game that was really close. So, and I felt like this game that Iowa State game in the Big 12 tournament that they almost gave away in a way. I mean, not just the one time, but the twice in Ames and in the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. I think that helped prepare them for this game. Because Virginia Tech shoots a lot of threes. It's no secret. And they made Georgia A more uncomfortable. She shot 7 for 22. 3 for 11 on threes. She did get her 6 assists and she did get up to her average, or exactly her average, at 18 points. But it was not an efficient game. And I kind of thought that was key. And Baylor's one of the better 3-point defending teams on the 3-point line. And when Baylor loses games, it's because of two things. Points in the paint difference. Baylor won that battle tonight. That helped propel them. And the rebounding. And yes, Baylor got out rebounded, but it was only by 1. Not that much of a difference. And both teams have the same amount of offensive boards. So, who does Baylor play next? It will be in Portland. It will be. And it will be against either USC or Kansas. Which, if Kansas were somehow to beat USC, that's just funny because Baylor split with Kansas this year. But I think Baylor wants to probably play against a different team other than Kansas. And I would think USC wins this game anyway. And the truth about this game is, even if Virginia Tech won this game, I didn't have them going further than Sweet 16. And maybe this Baylor team, I really truly believe that Baylor got the opportunity to play against Virginia Tech, that they could beat them. And I actually picked them to beat Virginia Tech in most of my brackets. So I look really smart. And I'm not just saying that I believe Baylor could win because I'm a Baylor fan and all. I did my research on this Virginia Tech team. And I knew how to defend them. I knew everything about them. And there was nothing much. It's not that hard. It is hard, but when they're down their best big, it makes more sense. We're going to have to wait and see what happens, and that game will be played on the 30th, by the way. So we don't know what the time is or anything like that. Or the opponent. It's either going to be USC or Kansas. So, anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe. And see you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, the ultimate goal is 1,000 or more. So make money out this. Of course, liking the video, comment the video really helps YouTube algorithm so more people can see it. Sharing the video does help as well, so more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribe, hit subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well. And I think if Baylor plays against USC, They should just play with house money. They have nothing to lose in that game. Yes, I know technically you lose one more game, you're out of the tournament, but they have now met their expectations, like at least to get to a Sweet 16. And I did say before the season began, the floor for the team was like around a 32, and the ceiling might be a Final Four. I don't know about Final Four now, but maybe Elite Eight. But who knows? And we're gonna have to wait and see what like I said, who they're gonna really play, USC or Kansas. And I think Baylor's hoping and praying for USC. I know it sounds crazy. I just don't want to play Kansas. They don't want to play Kansas a third time. After all, Kansas did punk Baylor the first time. And then Baylor beat Kansas the second time, though it was not easy at home. So, enough about this video here. I apologize how long this one is.